12:35 on Sunday night. I just want to say that all the Bitcoin is coming to roost. So personally, I'm tired. You can see my eyes are almost closed. But I'm looking at all the data that's come in over the last couple of months about Bitcoin. And I see a lot of manipulation, prices fluctuating, and volatility for at least 111 days. And why do I have 111 days? Well, it's funny how once the ETFs got approved, all this Bitcoin is now getting released from all these, I say undisclosed, but all these channels that have mysteriously acquired Bitcoin previously to today's date. So you've got this German company who has, I did the math, 111 days worth of Bitcoin if you're going to do the 450 a day, right? So 450 Bitcoin are made a day. They have 50,000 Bitcoin. When you do the math, it comes out to 111 days. So that makes it 900 Bitcoin a day for the next 111 days. You've had Mt. Gox selling off Bitcoin. You've just had all these companies that have gotten, I don't want to say raided, but they've gotten pretty much forced to sell their Bitcoin. I have a strong feeling that BlackRock is behind a lot of it because they are basically the government of the world right now. Say what you want about that, agree, disagree. But once all this Bitcoin is done being put back on into the market, and don't forget now, because all this Bitcoin was acquired by all these companies, that's what justifies the price being where it is today. Now they're putting it back on the market. Doesn't mean the price is going to drop dramatically. Of course, it's going to depend how much is bought over the next 3.5 months. But personally, I was kind of thinking the Bitcoin price was going to go up relatively soon, but it just seems like whenever all the Bitcoin selling is done, another company just happens to get extorted, if you will, for large quantities of Bitcoin. So what can you do, you know? If these companies didn't have so much Bitcoin, the price wouldn't be as high as it is because obviously it's all a supply and demand issue. And if they have 50,000 Bitcoin, well, if they didn't have 50,000 Bitcoin, then that 50,000 Bitcoin would be available on the open market and the price would be justifiably a lot lower. But now it's going to be coming back on the market. Who knows how rapidly? It might be a slow sell-off. It might be a rapid sell-off. I would imagine it's going to be a slow sell-off because anyone with any brains isn't just going to dump it all at one time. And as the price goes down, to make the price go down and then keep selling it for lower prices, they're going to want to try to keep the price as close to where it is right now if possible and slowly siphon it off. So that's why I figure 111 days just from this German company. Throw Mt. Gox in there. I mean, that's another 3 months. I mean, there's probably 6 months of volatility. I wish I had better news for y'all, but the way I see it, it's going to be 6 months before we see any real positive movement in Bitcoin, unless, of course, there's just some kind of a widespread adoption, which, of course, you always have to keep up to date on the news and follow the trends and see what countries are buying Bitcoin, what 401ks, insurance companies, businesses are going to follow the MicroStrategy philosophy of buying Bitcoin and then using the value they have of Bitcoin to buy more Bitcoin. But that's an unknown. So what I do know is from the amount of Bitcoin that's available to come onto the market between Mt. Gox and this German company, instead of it basically wipes out the halvening effect for minimum 3 months, more than likely 6 months. And that's if no more companies come forward that are forced to sell their Bitcoin for whatever reason. It just seems like whenever one is done, another one springs up. So you can call this manipulation. You can call this just the season that we're in. But that just seems to be what's going on here. And it's an unusually large amount. I haven't seen this amount of Bitcoin come back onto the market since after the 2017 bull rally into 18, and then when we saw the price go back down to 3,000. I'm not saying that we're going to see a drop like that again because there's much more corporate interest in Bitcoin. The public interest doesn't seem to be there because the greed index is about 50%. A lot of that is going into altcoins, meme coins, coins that in the long run probably aren't going to be here. But there would need to be volume wise, when you go on CoinMarketCap, it flashes the market cap, that's the amount of money in Bitcoin, and the volume. You would need to see, to justify about a $40,000 price, it almost matches up perfectly. 40,000, $40 billion traded per day in Bitcoin. To be at 80,000, $80,000 Bitcoin, you almost need to be at about 80,000 in volume a day. And that's simply because the amount of Bitcoin that comes on the market, there's got to be that much traded in order to justify the buying of the new supply that comes on the market, right? As far as market cap, that's going to have to raise daily on average by the amount of 450 Bitcoin times whatever Bitcoin is at per Bitcoin times 450, right? That just makes sense. So you're going to need to see the market cap rise, and you're going to need to see the volume increase for Bitcoin to move. And that's basically the easiest way to look at it. Okay. I haven't heard of any other potential sells coming, but who was expecting this German company to have to sell 50,000 Bitcoin? That's a lot of Bitcoin. Yes, when you look at the scheme of it, it's not that much, but when you add the 50,000 plus the Mt. Gox 120,000, and then the daily supply of 450 a day times the price of Bitcoin, it's not a little bit of money. It's a lot of money. So I really, to conclude, expect Bitcoin's price to be volatile. If it goes up, they're going to squeeze shorts. If it goes down, they're going to squeeze longs. And they're going to try to get the money out of the people that are trying to leverage the market, basically, in either direction. So that's another thing to look at. When you see a lot of shorts, they're probably going to get squeezed. When you see a lot of longs buying on margin, they're probably going to get squeezed because right now there's too much Bitcoin out there. I know they say supply is at the all-time lowest on exchanges, but in other places, it's enough to keep Bitcoin at bay for at least 3 to 6 months. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, because I think after that, once all this Bitcoin is done being scooped up, that yes, Bitcoin is obviously going to go higher. But anyone who's looking for a quick, in the next week, month, 2 months for Bitcoin to just explode, you're going to need to reserve a little patience because unless, like I said, some tremendous corporate or, you know, tremendous institutional, or even if the general public, maybe starts getting in, because the general public actually has a lot of money, even though it's in smaller amounts. But like I said, that Fear and Greed Index is just not showing that the general public is interested in crypto right now. So it's going to have to come from your corporations. And if we don't see a huge increase in corporations or general public, expect fluctuation. Expect these people who know what they're doing, these big whales, to manipulate the price up and down to squeeze people in both directions. All right? And I hope you understand what I'm saying when I say this. After the 6 months, I feel much more confident in the price of Bitcoin rising. That's all I got to say, guys. I love y'all. God bless. And it's just a matter of time, but it's going to require a little more patience. I was excited. I thought after the halving, maybe we give it a couple months and we're going to see a blast off. But again, like after 2017, you had Mt. Gox release 300,000 Bitcoin in 3 different time periods. And that's why you'd see Bitcoin boom, level, boom, down, level, boom, down to 3,000. And that was the best buying opportunity that you're going to have. I don't think it's going to drop dramatically like it did then because there is too much institutional interest in it. But I just look out for a lot of manipulation and a lot of getting squeezed. So don't go too crazy putting a lot of money in Bitcoin for the next 3 to 6 months. This is not financial advice. This is just what I suggest. I would just suggest acquiring, doing your regular buy-ins, weekly, monthly, what you can afford. Buy some BTFX and wait, because patience is a virtue. Peace. Love y'all. God bless. We got to figure out how to stop this thing.